Welcome to the Starting Over Podcast. I'm your host, Edward Shelton, aka Dark Logos. And this is a show where we look at the strategies, tactics, and mechanics behind the game of heroclix. I had an interview with Knack, the second place winner at Gen Con, and I didn't think it was quite appropriate for the quarry, but after just looking at some of his analysis stuff, I'm like, yeah, this guy's got some stuff that people need to hear. So here's the interview. There's still going to be an episode this week, so don't sleep. There's still another episode, but I really want you all to hear what Knack has to say. All right, so let's get into it. Okay, I have with me the second place winner at Gen Con, Mr. Knack, and you can fully introduce yourself if you so wish.
Hi, my name is Philip, or Phil. On the forums, I am Knack12.
Okay, cool. And so you played the awesome Silver Centurion team that has made you the folk hero of lore. So if you could run down your team for the listeners, just in case they don't know.
The team I used that gave me the second place and to qualify for Worlds was Silver Centurion, who was being possessed by the entity Parallax. I had Despotellis, who was being possessed by Adara, of course. And then I had Scotty's Warbot. And then for my resource, I used the power battery, color didn't matter, with the yellow ring. And I had the shield, which I always gave to Silver Centurion, and then the net, which I gave to Despotellis, because you could break away from him for free, kind of helps. And then a decoy on Scotty Warbot, making him even more difficult to kill. And that was my team.
Okay, so there we go. That's how it came down. So let's just talk about in top 16. Well, sorry, before we get to top 16, let's go into how did you come to the process of designing your team? Because I saw some things you said got thrown away in your write-up, and you did a really good write-up on AC Realms about some of your playtesting methodology. But how did you come to the process of refining down, your team to that final composition?
Well, there's actually a huge article I posted actually yesterday. I added to that post. It was like 5,000 words, and probably going to be much more detailed because it was a long write. But essentially, it came down to I had decisions because I was afraid mostly of alpha strikes. So I could either choose to have a counter to an alpha strike or a better alpha strike. And I didn't like those two decisions, so I decided for option C, which is just to have really high defense, just really hard to hit. You can't pulse with me. You can't hit my 20-plus defense. And that's pretty much... That was my idea, and before I started making my team.
Okay. So it's just, crazy high defense wins games. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So that's interesting. Sort of mindset there. And so you again, definitely check out that write-up. I'm going to have to go hunt it down. If not, just look for Knack12 and you'll see the post on AC Realms. Definitely, probably, it is by far one of the most well thought out meta-analysis that you could read. It's better than most things that I've written for my blog in the last year. So that says a lot. Well, it says a lot mainly to how crappy I've been writing for the last year. But it is a very solid read. Definitely, if you're looking to advance in skill and just meta understanding. It's something for you to think about. Uh, so you have your final rundown of your team, and I think I was reading in your post, you pretty much just said like you just had the teams play each other, and then who had the best win-loss record is what you brought, right?
Right.
Okay.
Right.
So I guess that really works out in the end. Uh, let's move on. You're in top 16, and you arrive in this magical land of epic heroes. It's not necessarily Valhalla, but it's definitely the Hall of the Legends. How did that feel being in that top 16?
I was actually really excited. Last year, 2013, I made it to the top 16 and lost to a stalling match, which really sucked. So I was really excited to get back there because as long as I do as good as I did last year, I feel good about myself. So at this point, I didn't actually care if I lost. I cared, but I wouldn't be upset because I did good. I made it to the top 16. Like you said, the champions, the heroes.
Yeah, and definitely I would say I didn't even know who you were from last year, just mainly because it's I only I wouldn't say I just talked to the winners, but mainly there's if folks aren't vocal about yeah, I was here and this would happen, and I don't get pointed to it, most of the time this stuff gets overlooked. So what was your in top 16? What did you face?
What did I face?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I was actually really scared because I actually lost my second match in Worlds, the 30.
In top 32.
Yeah, I actually lost my second match to a guy named Kenji. His dupe alone killed my entire team. So I was thinking, wow, yeah, his dupe alone killed every single person on my team. It was horrifying. Well, dupe had Ion on him and an Angry Hammer.
Oh, okay, okay, that makes more sense. I'm dupe alone.
But still, with that combo, he's less than 150 points, and he killed all 300 points of my team. He did a really good job playing. I was really surprised that I lost so horribly. And so I'm at the top 16 now, and I'm thinking, I'm scared. I already lost. I'm probably going to lose again, but I'm going to have fun. So the first match, I faced a JLA team base, which I was really surprised to face that. He's actually, he's on the forums a lot. His name is Jettery.
Yeah.
And he was last year's Golden Age winner. And I was scared then, too, because he's a really good player, and he's really huge in the meta. So I was never really, last year, Gen Con 2013, JLA Team Base was my number one fear. I never even faced it. This year I wasn't too afraid because it only has 2 actions. 3 actions really makes it really powerful, but because of the watch list. But he did have a few characters who were on strategy game.
Mm-hmm.
And so far, I've noticed every time I lose to characters I've never seen before. I've never seen Dupe. Last year I never saw Bat Knight. So these strategy games I've never seen before. Actually, we'll get to my last match later. But yeah, so these strategy board game guys, I didn't know who they were. So yeah, that's who I faced that match.
Okay, and so in that matchup, did you end up taking down the team base primarily, or did you just went and picked off the solo adventure figures?
Oh, okay, yeah. So this is how this match went. My first turn, I went first. I created a torpedo, and I attached the shield. His first turn, now I'm playing on the Teen Titans outdoor on the ground map. Well, it's just pretty much a big open map with 3 different elevations that kind of go up on one side. And some hindering here and there. So he, on his first turn, he moves his team base halfway across the map. And he was also, keep in mind, Jittery he was very sick. He was not feeling well. He was really nauseous. So I don't know if he was thinking 100% clearly, but on my second turn, I was able to running shot him right away. He just left his team base wide open, and I hit him, and he used his steam prob on me. It's permanent team base steam prob to I rolled a critical hit, so that really helped. So after hitting his team base for 3 clicks, he started popping off his figures. He hit into stealth, and he popped off his Superman. And Superman came and tried to hit me and missed, and then I killed the Superman. Then he popped off Batman, and by this time, my next turn, my torpedo went to 7 damage, and I luckily got the 7 I needed to hit his Batman and killed him before his Batman got a chance to do anything. So now I already killed 2 of his characters. I already have 200 points, so I'm feeling pretty good. He pops off Wonder Woman, but I guess he thought it was a mistake because he popped it right back on, and then the next time he popped up Green Lantern. So he was sitting in stealth, and the JLA team base has that one power where none of your combat values can be modified higher. So my energy shield deflection wasn't going to do anything. The bonuses from the ring wasn't going to do anything. So I was like, you know what? My best chance is probably Des Vitalis. So I dropped off the whole team next to Green Lantern in the JLA base to poison them, of course. Ended up killing Green Lantern, but the team base ran away, and actually I brought my Des Vitalis with him, and he actually killed Des Vitalis. I was like, oh no, there goes my defense. But now I already have 300 points. Technically I have 310 points, because we didn't realize, I think Green Lantern was 110.
10 point, yeah.
Which I think was illegal, but at the time none of us even caught it.
Yeah.
So now it's his base. Still, his team base only has a 9 attack, and my defense, even if it's not modified, is an 18, so he still would hit a 9. So he ended up killing my Warbot, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, I killed my Scotty Warbot. And it was just him hitting. I hit him again, and he probbed me into another critical hit. So I got 2 hits into probbed the critical hits on him, which really kind of demoralized his play. He didn't care at this point. He hit me on the pulse wave, the parallax, and I had his pulse wave, the base to death, and we're going to super sensor that happened. And that's how that match went.
Wow.
So listen, Centurion never took more than 3 clicks.
Wow. Okay. All right. So that sounds interesting. You're now in top 8. You have gone where you haven't previously gone before. So you're really happy. I think not yet. Yeah, I'll tell you something funny about this. I think it's it was finals. It was during finals. It was not during finals. Quarters. Anyway, so top 8. You're there. What did you go up against?
Let's see, my top 8. I'm trying to think. I know I faced the Bullseye team before my final match, but that's top 4. Let me check real quick. I know I posted it.
In the meantime, I'm looking at this dupe because I tried to get one almost the entirety of Gen Con, and then I was forced into making a hard decision when I got 19th place. I was like, either get the Hulk She-Hulk duo, or what was it? World's Finest or dupe. And then in the back of my head, it was like, grab that Hulk She-Hulk, and I'm like, no. And I was like, I'm not going to play Slosh Battle Royales. Give me that World's Finest. So I think I just sort of resigned just to get dupe on eBay. I don't know if I came out ahead, but definitely I know probably in the future his price should go down because of those regional events. There should be more of him out on the circuit. So hopefully he turns into Batmite and he's $30. But yeah, did you find that team?
Yes, I actually made a mistake. The match I faced with Jettery was actually my top 8.
Oh, okay.
The first match I had in top 16 was actually a man named Scott. I actually I beat him in the qualifiers on Thursday, my last match. Mm-hmm. And he was using the exact same team, and I was using the exact same team. So apparently he got in on Friday. And so, yeah, this was my actual top 16 match. He was playing 2 10th anniversary Ironmen, split lip, 3-point pog, and I think 7 hammers. So he could get Power Cosmic with his hammers. Mm. And I was actually prepared for this because I personally, my favorite resource to use is the Power Plant with the Mandarin Rings. But just like the Book of Skulls and the Power Plant, and and even the Phoenix Force, really, if you face a 10th anniversary Iron Man, you're not going to be doing that much damage, half the time, maybe, and that's if you get past their impervious. But luckily for me, playing the power battery, it's not attached to any of your characters unless you attach a construct. So all I had to do was not attach a construct, and now I'm going against these two 10th anniversary Iron Men who only have 5 clicks. So just like the first match I played on Thursday, I would open up with Scotty Woolback's Psychic Blast, and then Super Centurion would just finish him off. And that was one turn, he would be dead, and next turn I did the same thing. That's what I was expecting. But Scott played it very well, and he maneuvered and positioned so well. And he probably could have beaten me if I didn't roll 4 shape changes, succeeding with and 2 impervious rolls.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah, I dodged 6 attacks. Now, I was left with pretty much my full force. So even if he did hit me, I could have been weakened. I might still have won, but because of that, the 6 shape changes, it was all the Whiskas dice too. They gave us the Whiskas dice. We can't use our own. We can't even blame the dice. So,
I know plenty of people that blame the dice. It's just the fact of you can't say that the dice cost you everything. You can't say your opponent's cheating with dice, but that's a whole different story. All right. So double M10 Iron Man. It's funny? Every time I say that team is dead, someone keeps playing it and gets somewhere with it. And then I'm like, dang it, people, why don't you listen to me? Don't you know that I'm the meta guy? Anyway, I think what ended up happening was it was top 4, because it wasn't the final round. It was top 4. I was playing a battle royale with your dad. And and he's like, my son's the one over there. And I'm like, oh, okay, cool. And it's like, which one? He's like, the guy with the ponytail over there. And I'm like, I looked over there. I'm like, okay, so one of the dudes that looks like he belongs in Star Wars. All right. Because the way you had your ponytail, I was like, I've seen that in Star Wars.
That's actually the only reason why I do that with my hair like that, was just so, because people are like, who are you again? Because I'm not on the forums that much. Well, I have been recently, but like last year and all previous years, like, who are you again? I'm the guy with that top knot ponytail thing. I'm like, oh, I saw you last year. Like, yeah. So that's kind of why I did it, so people could recognize me.
Yeah. I was like, here you go, people. Fashionable hair. It gets you recognized. So I was playing with your dad during top 4, and I was like, well, I'm out of this. I'm gonna play some battle royales and try to get some clicks. And so that's what ended up happening. But anyway, so you're in top 4. What'd you go against?
Oh my goodness, I was really nervous at this point. It's so exciting. So I went up against a Bullseye. I think, this is my first. This is my first Bullseye facing this tournament. I expected to face a lot of him. I also haven't faced any Iron Ferris at this point too, and I thought I'd face a lot of him. But I was facing a Bullseye, of course a Despadara, because Despotalis and Idara go together. He had a power plant, which was pretty cool. I don't remember the rest of his team. I think he had Cerise. I'm not exactly sure. But it was pretty much, I think it was Weasel. He was just buffing up Bullseye a lot. And, I don't remember his name, so I apologize for that. But I played on the same map, the Teen Titans. That was my preferred map because you can't really hide in that map. He moved out a little bit, and I moved my Scotty Warbot in position with Despotalis to dual perplex down his Despotalis' defense. So when my Super Centurion got his running shot off, I actually hit, which was good. And then it was just his Bullseye left with his normal defense, and then I think he rolled a critical miss, like early on, or just not a critical miss, an easy miss. Like he needed like a 5 and roll a 4, which really, really hurt him. Like he needed that hit because he had like the Electro Blast ring. He was doing 6 damage, and he got that jump on me. But I ended up taking one of his characters out with my missiles, and I just overwhelmed his, because the Bullseye doesn't really have any armor, so every shot he took full damage, and that match ended in like less than 10 minutes. It was quick.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and I was so surprised and so giddy. I was like, oh my goodness, they're going to the final match.
Yeah, I understand. I definitely understand that. Okay, so a little bit of anticlimacticness coming in from the semifinals. So you're in the finals. You're facing the legendary Patrick, the Rock Killer. I mean, what's going through your head here? Like,
Well, I actually, so before that match, I was looking at the opponent's team. I actually asked the judge because I was so out of it. I was so happy that I made a second place. I wasn't thinking clear. I asked the judge, "Hey, am I allowed to watch my opponent's match?" Like, yeah, of course. So I was looking at the opponent's match, and both of them had similar teams with Iron Pharaoh and the Battery and pretty much hiding. One of the guys had Lydia Mauer. So I was really afraid because if I get map choice, he could use his Lydia Mauer to steal my ring from me, and I lose my +1 to all my stats, which really sucks. But if he goes first, then he's going to pick a map that's going to really suck for me. He could just have Iron Pharaoh hide. So I was really afraid of that team. I was hoping to face Pat. I didn't really look at the match though. I was trying to watch the match, but I was just too excited to actually comprehend what was happening. So now the last match starts. I don't even know. I never met Pat before. I didn't actually look at the ROC winners, so I didn't know he was the golden champion of ROCs. I didn't even know.
Okay, that's good. That's a positive.
Yeah, that is positive, because if I knew it, I would have been so scared. But at this point, I was pretty satisfied with myself that I made it this far. I want to win, but if I didn't win, I'd be okay with myself. The first look at his team, I didn't think anything was special about it. Like nothing, like no crazy, no gimmick. He just has Iron Pharaoh with Ophidian on him because that's everyone's choice is Ophidian. And the Green Lantern chick, she's the pink skin, Lyra. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, he had the Lyra Prime, which I've never seen before. And this goes back to the I always lose to figures I've never seen before. So yeah, I've never seen her before. She's a Green Lantern, and his resource was the Green Lantern Battery with the Green Lantern Green, which I faced earlier of the whole 3-action thing. That kind of sucks. That means I can't use my my Perplex negative ability and Running Shot because I only get 1 free action. So I was kind of nervous. I can't use Running Shot and make my missile go higher, and so I had to be really careful with my actions. He rolled the boxcars for map choice, which really sucks because I was going to play on a submarine map because I knew he can't hide on a submarine map. He can't. The Battery, both starting areas have is full of hindering terrain or water terrain. So the power Battery has to be stuck right in the middle where there's only one spot on both starting areas. So you can't hide behind it. Also, Iron Pharaoh can't shoot through walls on indoor walls. So that's the map of choice. But he ended up picking the Apocalypse map, which I hate that map. I know in one of your videos you were posting like Sentinels on that map, and if you look at that map, you'll see awkward elevated terrain ladders. Just ladder on this side, and then you have to go all the way across the map to get to the other.
Yeah.
It was just bad. And I didn't know this, but you could outwit someone with Power Cosmic or Contestants if you outwit like their flight. I didn't know that was possible.
Yeah, so, you can outbout their combat ability, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Just not their powers, yeah.
So this match, to me, was very boring. Some people say they watched the video, because there is a video out there. A friend from Florida, Ryan is his name, he filmed it. I didn't actually watch it, because I played it and I didn't need to watch it. But to me, it was boring. Some people say it wasn't. I never made a single attack roll. So that's how boring it was to me. Pretty much, I tried to get to his starting area where he was hiding. I should describe what the starting area looked like if you're not going to watch the video. He had two open spots where he put both of his characters in the starting area. Surrounded by him is his power battery and above elevated terrain. So there's no way to base him. There is no square he could be adjacent to for melee. So that's where his starting area was. That's where he positioned himself. So I couldn't actually get to him easily. So I tried to avoid his Falcon as best I can. It's taking pot shots at me. He was actually forgetting that he'd get the +1 attack and damage against my Centurion, but still, he would, at best, he'd use an 11 after, like, it wasn't good to hit my Centurion. Like, so I don't blame him for hiding in the corner. I mean, but anywho, so I'm trying to get to his starting area. He's outwitting my flight, outwitting my carry ability, which is just making this take longer. I finally get to his starting area. I decided to go all out. Well, I say all out, but I decided to extend myself all the way up to where he was. I perplexed down his defense. I free action put my missile right on his Iron Fail to hit him for 7. He rolls shape change roll, and he gets a 6. Everyone around us jumped and either was like yes if they're rooting for Pat or like no if they're rooting for me. The judges were like, oh no, this is huge. Because he got the shape change roll, and there goes my 7 damage. So the missile fizzed out. I didn't get to attack, and then he carries Iron Pharaoh away. I tried chasing him, but he keeps outwitting my flight, so I can't get to him. He ends up pulse waving my Pog, my Scotty Wombat.
Mm-hmm.
He immediately killing him. So now he has 30 points, and I got nothing. So I tried chasing him down. At this point, I'm thinking, I need to drop Despotellus off next to him. I just need to drop him off, deal some quick to poison, and I'll be good. That's just what I need to do. I just couldn't catch him. A few things I didn't think about, which my Desmodara could have chosen TK, and I could have TK closer and tried to shoot Lara with her 19 defense. It was impervious because of Ion. I think she had Ion. Yeah, Ion. I could have tried that. I never did because I didn't want to leave Desmodara just sitting out in the open with the 0 movement. So I never did that. I should have pushed into hypersonic sooner. But what ended up happening is I ended up going back to my base just so I could get the Falcon to go all the way to me, and then I could run across the map again. And he went back to his. But he didn't move the Falcon near me. He didn't need to. He thought, well, I already got points. I could just sit back here. So we actually passed for 4 turns each. Like, I pass. I'm like, okay, this is getting really boring. I was just going to start blowing up walls for fun because I knew at this point I couldn't catch him. But I decided, it's kind of, I don't know, disrespect. So I'll go off. I'll just keep trying. So I would try to fly close to him. He'd outwit my flight. Can't catch him. Whenever I got close, carried him away. I tried to run after him again. Outwit my flight. Oh, he also has the wall. And he's using the wall to help. I can't see him at all. He'd hide behind walls and whatnot. So I get close, he fly away. And then time was called. And that was it. That was the whole match. Oh, during that time, he did single target pulse wave my Desmodara. So he did get that off too. So I was just my Centurion alone, trying to fly around, and it wasn't great.
Huh.
So, and that was it. He just flew around.
Okay. So, yeah. So at the end of that, you got your cool swag from WizKids. So you got something for spending all those hours playing heroclix. Just sort of looking at the meta after Gen Con. I mean, what's your thoughts? Is the game in a good place, bad place? What needs to be improved? This sucks. This is awesome.
They're just back in the day when they first introduced special powers. All it was, let's say I have Psychic Blast on my character, but the character also needs Energy Explosion. They'll make a special power on their damage instead of their attack and say, oh, they can use Energy Explosion. So it wasn't really that much. Special powers, like, oh, you could use 2 powers, I guess Charge and Running Shot. Now, I think about 10% at most of the characters had special powers. Now, almost every character in every set has a special power or trait. Every character. And most of them are unique stuff that you have to memorize. So memorizing clicks is a lot more difficult. The amount of sets that come out is so much more than like the previous, 3 or 4 sets a year. So there's a lot of stuff you have to memorize, which makes the meta a lot harder. That's how you're a better player by knowing, figures. And of course, there's a lot of complicated stuff that slow the game down, like entities and resources clicking. I personally love resources. I love them. They make so much fun. But a lot of people just don't understand them right away. Complicated powers like the elaborate death traps from the 60s Batman, just huge reads. It makes things a lot more complicated. It makes things more diverse, which is fun, but it's still, the meta is complicated. There was actually some teams that made it into the top 16 that I was terrified of, especially I didn't even think about it. Absorbing Man with the white ring, so he has a live click. So you have to hit that stupid defense way more. And the other characters they used on the team was like Resurrection Man, which can't die until Absorb Man's dead, or Bizarro with like 8 clicks, and that takes forever.
Yeah.
And the game has turned, instead of like, out positioning, out strategizing their opponent, to playing teams that can't physically die. Like they just can't die. Like even my team was similar to that. I was immune to Pulse Wave, immune to Psychic Blast, immune to Outwit, immune to Poison. I had a 23 defense. Like you just couldn't kill me. Like that was my other played super defense. I lost in one of the qualifying matches to a roll-off because a guy played 11-click Bizarro with a bat belt, and he'd run around in stealth all day. I'm trying to get to him, and he could, of course, ignore characters and just run away, and I just couldn't hit him. He didn't do a single click of damage to me. I did 10 clicks to him, but in the end, it didn't matter. Yeah, he didn't do a single click of damage. Not a single click. I poisoned him and hit him as much as I could. He'd put the gas pellets down, which would kill my hog, so I'd fly away, and then I'd fly back, and it made the game take forever. And, of course, some people aren't super fast players, which is fine, but when I practice, I never take into account the time running out. I always, this team's better than this team, that kind of thing. And sometimes, even if your team is better and you're doing better, you can still lose the time. So I never take that into account, and figures these days are coming out like you can't kill the team. You can't do it. Not in the time. So.
Yeah. I think the way things are right now, it's complicated. Like you said, I think the other thing that sort of comes in is that if you try to make it like a faster game or try to bring more aggro elements into it, people start looking at your play funny. Or at high level play, like when I faced George, and George is a friend of mine. Like I've known George Matsu for years. When I faced George the first round, because they messed up top 32 of Mini Swiss, I was like, well, dang it. Here's this one team that my entire poison team is going to have problems with, and that's, lo and behold, Bizarro with the bazillion clicks, and it's like, all right, what am I to do? And like he didn't have Resurrection Man. He fortunately just had Split Lip and an Old Woman Pog. But even then, it's just like hammer drop, hammer drop, hammer drop, and I'm like, oh, these dang hammers are eating my team. It's not even me, and I can't get next to Bizarro because he ignores characters, so he's always sidestepping away from my poison, and it's just like, so want to hit Bizarro the figure so bad. But, Bizarro was the answer to the imbalance that came from Ghost Rider and Batmite. So there's these things of like, okay, these silver bullets get created, and part of me wants to just say, like, let's just hold up. Like, let's just say this is the fence. Let's not go outside that fence. Because going outside that fence, there's like dragons with laser beam eyes and gnomes with mind control plague out of their breath. You can go out there, but you won't have a good time. And if you come from that dark world, you will be the ultimate hero of all time. But be mindful that the native locals are going to look at you and no different than the monsters you slayed. And I think that's what's happening, is that casual Clicks players, or even people just trying to get better, are are looking at the meta and it's just like, that's so not fun. I would never play that. Or that's so abusive to your opponent. I would never want anyone to experience that type of clicks game. And they're more socially minded. There is something I did want to ask you, and I've sort of threw it in my last episode, which by the time we finish talking will probably be uploaded to eBay, to YouTube. But for everybody that listens, it's last week's episode. So in the now, it hasn't gone up. In the future, which you're listening, the show has gone up. But did you have, like, outside of your father, did you have anybody help you with your team?
I had a few people discuss teams with me. I would say I play regularly with about 12, 14 people. But I would say outside me and my father, I would say about 3 of them care a little bit about the meta. But everyone else is just casual gaming. It's what you're saying. We actually, I have a slight story. We were playing at one of our venues, casual, and we said, "Hey, what do you guys want to do for the next month, event?" And we're like, "Oh, well, Gen Con's coming up in a few months. How about we do 300 points, build your best team practice for Gen Con?" And of course, only me and my dad are going. None of the other 6 people are going. But like, "Oh yeah, it'd be fun," And I ended up bringing in what I thought was the best. I didn't have all the pieces yet for my team. Like, I didn't have a Dara yet, but I had an Iron Ferritin that I thought was the best Iron Pharaoh I could possibly build. I refused to use Iron Pharaoh for the tournament, by the way. Like, I would refuse to use Ghost Rider. But anyhow, so for the tournament, I'm using this Iron Pharaoh, and then he has like the net on him and Asphidian and all this orange. He has all those pluses for stats. I have like Weasel, and I have a Dark, Black Talon, and a Hired Henchman. So I only need a 4 to mind control Iron Pharaoh to go again or move the Falcon again. So, and I was facing these people who, they aren't metagame players, they're all casual players, and of course they don't go on the forums either, and they don't know any of the meta, so they just built teams that they thought were good. And they were like, "This match was not fun," and I kept apologizing, and that's like, "Yeah, I'm sorry, sorry about using this, Iron Pharaoh guy on you like this, burying up in the corner with my orange ring." Yeah, it's not fun for the casual players, especially when there are people who only care about winning. They only care about winning, so they'll bring the best pieces or the best strategies they find online, or they make themselves. And it's really hard for new people or casual players to even play.
Yeah, and that's one thing that I am starting to find as more and more complicated. Of like, I mentor people in heroclix, and it becomes a bit tough, just because if you start saying like, "Yo, look at this, look at that, you have to analyze this, have to analyze that," there's so many different levels of, okay, I'd make you better. Then all of a sudden, like with my first student, like I made him so much better that there really wasn't anybody around him to compete. And so it became a problem. It's like you get bored real easy because there's no one to fight. But at the same time, if you go to high-level events and you're not going against high-level competition on a regular basis, it erodes your skill. Like, I know I put my venue through hell for 2 months for me getting ready for Gen Con. I know I did, because every week for let's see, outside of War of Light, 2 out of the 3 free games that we did in a month was 300 points, modern. And getting ready for Tulsa Rock and then also getting ready for Gen Con, I put my venue through hell, because it was, I didn't even take prizes. It was just like, okay, I needed this and this. Okay, I don't need any of the rest of the prizes. Don't need any of the rest of the prizes. And I actually, the funny thing was, with my Wolverine Agent of AIM, I was going to like give it away because I didn't initially want it. But then everybody's like, "Dude, you won, just take the prize." And so I'm sort of glad I did it, because I was able to get as high as I did because of Wolverine. But I think there's starting to become the separation in the culture a lot more, and I think
like The Rock is hitting the hardcore, and then WizKids is hitting the casuals. And I think that's best for everybody, but definitely Gen Con. I think the Gen Con main event is not even for, hey, check out, I won Gen Con. It's just really, hey, check it out, I get to design a figure. If it wasn't for that, I don't think anybody would care about Gen Con. Do you agree or disagree with that?
Oh, I honestly, that's what I wanted the most. I didn't care about the con LEs that much. I just wanted to make my figure.
Yeah. So I mean, that's what I sort of figured. And you know, once you make your figure, it's like, yeah, I got my figure. You know, so definitely understand about that. All right. I like to thank Knack for coming on, and I really do appreciate him showing up. It's real late, definitely for him, and late for me. So anyway, that's it, and I'm going to lead you back into the main program.
All right. I hope you all really enjoyed that interview. I know I haven't done an interview on this channel in a while, so definitely it's something different. Like I said, there's going to be a normal episode this week, so just be on the lookout for that. But anyway, you can follow me at StaroverPod. It came from outer space and told me that I have more similarities to Clark Kent, except I didn't come from Krypton. You can check my random musings there. Not only that, you can email me at startingoverpodcast@gmail.com. That's startingoverpodcast@gmail.com if you wish to opine. Keep it simple, keep it awesome, keep it interesting, baby. And last but not least, you can check me out at the blog, startingoverpodcast.blogspot.com. All right. Thanks for listening. Hope y'all enjoyed this. And remember, hey, we all got to start over sometime.